it stops, no one knows. We're going headed into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Oh, the camera's off. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's kind of a bittersweet Tuesday. It's February 13th, and for anybody who follows the Delphi case, you guys all know that it has been 7 years. 7 years since Abby and Libby went missing. Hi, Humanimal. Hi, Mace Mama. What's up, Carla? We're doing a show for Abby and Libby to do that. Their families, to think their families could wait more years for justice is awful. It really is. And I mean, and they're going to. That's the unfortunate thing of what's happening with all the court back and forth right now. They're not going to see justice yet. They're just not. Hi, Journey takes a trip. What's up, little gambler? Dina. I think I said hi to you, Veronica, but yeah, I know it's True Crime Time. Hi, C-Dub. Mar. Hi, Teresa. I'll say hi to all the Teresas. Just hi all the Teresas, because otherwise I'll just repeat saying hi to all the Teresas. Hi, Kim. What's up, Brad? Hi, Starlight. Hey, BGOG. Hi, the Rockaways. Don't expect justice from our justice system, that's for sure. That's sad. That's sad. That's a sad thought to even have when we actually have one of the better. I know people think it's the best. I'm not sure I believe it's absolutely the best, but I think that it is definitely one of the better justice systems in our world. But hey, Snappy Dragon. What's up, Bonnie? Hi, AH. Hey, Laura. Hi, Steve. You lost the recording. How does that happen in 2017? I'm very curious about getting some more information on this overridden DVR bullshit. I'm very curious to get some more information on that. When did they find out? How long did they know? Why did Nick wait until a couple of weeks ago to tell anybody? Harry's fire. Okay, you go. Hey, Mark. ATS. Hi, honey. Hi, unindicted. Okay, hold on. I think my messenger's already blowing up. Oh, perfect. I am. I'm about to do that. It's like you're in my brain, Sleuthy. Get out of my brain. Get out of my brain. Okay. All right. Sorry, I had to read that real quick. Let me come back over here with you guys. So I don't think that I'll stay. Thanks. All right, fine. I guess I can't argue with that. Hi, the White Rabbit. What's up, Deets? Hi, honey. I'm loving your new intro over there, Deets. No, Carla, I'm not starting. We haven't started yet. We're not starting. What's up, Johnny? Okay, so what was I gonna say? I don't even know what the hell I was saying now. Shit. Hi, Cop Facts. Are you here? Hi, Cop Facts. I missed you when I was reading the text message. Oh, 7 years and it's still up in the air. Yeah, that's just the craziest part. And so that's kind of, thank you, Cop Facts. Actually, that's kind of where I was going with what I was about to say. So I appreciate you getting me back on track. So I figured there was a couple of requests in some Facebook groups by the family members to keep today all about like Abby and Libby and not to dive too much into the other stuff. And I thought about that and I'm like, I would love to respect that as much as I possibly can. But I don't know them. and so I was thinking about this, and I'm like, and I thought about, like, you know, would they even come on just to talk about, because we were talking about this with one of our other lives, like, would the family members come on just to even discuss, like, just the girls themselves? And I was like, is that's a kind of a really bad position to put them in because of the gag order, because they're allowed to talk about the girls all they want to. And I was like, okay, so I want to respect that as much as possible. So I figured, since I don't know the girls, and I only know them obviously through the families, and the families can't really come on and talk, that I thought, instead, let's talk about how we get justice for the girls, instead of the back and forth between the attorneys all the time. And I'm sure we'll touch on that, don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about some of the evidence and things, but I didn't want to dive too far away from the girls. And I have, like, a whole bunch of pictures and stuff that I brought up to show, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like you get torn between, it's a day about them because they went missing 7 years ago, but it's also, I mean, we're all here because we want justice for them. So I was like, okay, let's kind of just try to focus on that and see if we talk about, like, the evidence and the things that way versus, like, the lawyers doing their lawyering back and forth, and maybe that gets us a step closer. I don't know. This is just kind of my thought process. So please forgive me if you think that's off base. And hello, everybody that just popped in. Hello, Shelley. Hello, Oz. Hello, Teresa. Hi, Awatha. I'm on NyQuil. Just I need to take some. I need to take something. I have not felt good this whole week. Hey, J.O. I want to move forward and get their justice, not relive this awful day. I know. So that's why I'm like, it's just, like, so torn. You're so torn on. That's what they're asking for. I mean, I totally respect that, because, I mean, it's their family, but they're the ones that know them. They're the ones that can tell the stories. So I'm like, this is kind of what I can do, or what we can do. We can just talk about how do we move forward? How do we get justice? How do we not just focus on the lawyer back and forth? That's where I'm at. So take it or leave it. Oh, no. Yeah, no, I never. But I do have respect for the victims' families, absolutely. But nobody will ever dictate. I think I've told you guys this before. I lived that life for a little while when it came to another case where a family was very influential, and I have no desire to do that again. I just want to do my thing, but I also want to be respectful when I do it, because I do care about the victims' families. Crazy, it's been 7 years. The worst day of the girls' lives. Yeah. I mentioned in a Discord that Robert Ives was on the case when the interviews got recorded over. Wonder if he dipped out early because of that. Or he just dipped because he was like, you guys are fucking up this investigation so bad that I can't even, there's nothing I'm ever going to be able to do. Now, that would be interesting. So the recordings that would be recorded over, I think that, we put a lot of that weight on Nick McClelland or Robert Ives, and it's not about them. It's about the investigators. So we have to make sure that we know that. The investigators are the ones who would have recorded over it or deleted it, or the tech people. The prosecutors wouldn't have had anything to do with that at that point. If they did, it'd be very interesting. So I'm curious what justice would look like for those who think RA is innocent. But I play both. I play both scenarios when it comes to that. I try to go through anything I can find that points to him being the guilty one. I guess here's the one that I can't come up with. I cannot come up with him being involved with other people and doing it. I feel like it was either a group of people or it was him, and it was him by himself. I don't know. That probably sounds weird, but I can't. He just doesn't have any. He doesn't have any people. Sounds so bad. He doesn't have a crew. You know what I mean? He doesn't have like a circle. He has his pool buddies, but that's about it. Hey KW, hey Yvonne, hey Jojo. Yeah, but if Nick knew this entire time that he purposely withheld it, that's different. Yeah, but I just mean like in the deletion of it. Very true. Very good point to make sure that I say. I'm convinced he's not guilty. We all have to remember he is technically innocent right now. Legally, in our legal system in America, he is innocent until proven guilty. Hey, Vigilante. Ives gave the interview about at least 3 signatures because he never expected that to be kept secret. Yet the prosecution and LE was willing to bury it if not for the defense finding it. Absolutely agree with that. Hi, Charmaine. Yeah, I'm not. Danielle, me and you both. I'll go back and forth. I tell myself this, and then I tell myself that, and then I tell myself this. I'm like, I keep going back and forth. Let's see, Oz. Where did Oz go? Yep. Abby would have been 20. That's some perspective for you. Yeah, she'd be almost 21, too. I'm just looking at your guys' comments real quick before we get going. Ugh, it sucks, Carla. Most of us have been affected since it happened or we found out. I remember the day I heard they were missing. And I remember hearing, as I wasn't like deep involved in like true crime at that point. I mean, like I'd always followed true crime, but I wasn't like this, like how I am now. And I remember thinking, all right, this won't take very long. Like there's nobody else there. There's this guy on, they have him recorded. They have his voice. It won't take very long. And then I remembered like kind of like just, it was like in the background all the time. And then when they started to change everything in 2019, and I'm still hoping that I can get Skip to come on with me, maybe this week. I just need to feel better. And we can go over what happened in 2019, because in 2019 was when my interest went like, wait a minute. Like I always knew about the case, but I just kind of figured that they had it under control. Like, that whole faith in the system kind of thing. Like I do have faith in the system. I do back law enforcement. My dad was a cop. My uncle was a cop. My cousins are cops. I went to school and got a criminal justice degree. I do back the law enforcement. So I was just like, yeah, I think that they'll get this. And then in 2019, when they changed everything, I was like, these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. Something's wrong. Like something's really, really wrong here. And that's when I knew, like, this is going to be bad. So then I was like, shit, okay. When they finally arrested him, I was like, all right, well, they arrested him in October. I was like, good, they got it. This is it. Like they finally figured it out. And maybe the whole thing in 2019 it worked in their favor. And here he is. And this is it. Once again, just back in law enforcement. Like I believe they've done what they need to do. And now here I am again going, did they really? I don't know about that. Hey, Scotty, I'm usually one to have pegged the right logical answer, but in this case, there isn't one. I'm on the fence, which is weird. And that probably keeps you coming back to the case too, because that's kind of where I am. Like once I figure it out, I don't want to say lose interest, because I still have the interest in it, but I don't care to dig into it as much. And so once sitting on the fence is very hard for me, because I just need, I need to break it down and say, hey, this is what it is. This is how it works. No, Shelly, I haven't done much the last couple of days except for watch the Harmony Montgomery trial and kind of lay around because I haven't felt great. So I'm not super up to speed on lots of things. Tell me about it. At a ball game, I assumed it would be solved quickly. I was following true crime online at the time. Yeah, it was one of those. A Philly cop, hardcore. I knew of the case, but got fully invested when they named that Nations guy who was living in Woodland Park, Colorado, which probably wasn't very far from you, huh? At that time, I remember the day well. I was deep in the Maury, oh my gosh, tongue twister, Maura Murray rabbit hole when I heard about the girls. It has to make you wonder if missing audio is just the go-to excuse for information that doesn't fit their narrative. First, the Allen interview with Doolin, and now this. Mark, it's a great question. And because we don't get clarification on what else was actually deleted, because we hear that those are deleted, but they put in there a date range of shit that was deleted. How much other stuff was on there? Was there anything else that was important? How do we even know? Is there a log of all the interviews that were deleted? That's the kind of crazy shit. Like, I'm sure they know at this point, but the public doesn't. And why keep it hidden? Why hide it? If you didn't do anything wrong and it was a simple mistake, why the fuck do they keep hiding this shit? Why do they hide the professor? They hide the fact that they deleted shit. I mean, their actions are what make them look shady. Mistakes are mistakes, and I think as human beings, we all pretty much understand that other people will make mistakes. But to try to cover them up and hide them is, hey Bart, that's my granddaughter's age. He cannot go against his fellow Masons. BH and Nick are both Freemasons. Yeah, they are. And there's a few other players in this that have been around for over the years that are also Masons, ironically. We must keep an open mind. We've all been wrong at some point, and this case is far from over. That's perfectly said, Cop Facts. Yeah. Libby's birthday was December 27th. She would have turned 21 in December. I was in the middle and now leaning to no part at all. State's case is weak, in my opinion. I'm not disagreeing with you. All right, let's go. So I'm going to play, I don't know if some of you guys may have seen this. If you haven't, well, you're going to get to watch it here. I'm going to play, Court TV did a little segment today with Barbara McDonald, and she's got some interesting things to say. And so we're going to talk about that first, and then I'm contemplating going through, and you guys tell me what you think of this. Because I want to do this 2019, the switch of 2019, I thought it would be a really good idea to have you guys, all of you guys that have been around will probably know this name, Doug Rice. Do you guys remember Doug Rice? He was Bitter Beat Poet on Reddit. He was a local and he talked to a lot of people and got a lot of information. And I thought it would be interesting now 7 years later to go through some of his posts. Unfortunately, Doug Rice has passed away, so he wouldn't be able to come on and tell us what some of the things he was talking about actually mean. But I think that it would be interesting to go back and see the things that he had found out throughout the years before there was an arrest, and how much of it matches what we know now. And then I think it would be a very good lead into when we do go through the 2019 switch, because I believe he had some info that is pertinent to that. So, oh, it's spicy. Okay, forget Masons. It's those CBS people. Oh, and also, just an FYI, the CW, speaking of TV networks, the CW, the Crime Nation that was filmed last year, right around the time the memorandum came out, it is airing on February 20th, so a week from today. And it is the first episode, I believe, of 8. I think it's 8 episodes, and it's all different cases. So they have Long Island serial killer, they have the Idaho case, they have Delphi, I believe they have Gabby Petito. I don't remember the other ones. But they have chosen the Delphi episode to be the first in their series, and it'll be on next Tuesday. They keep uber secret. No one is allowed in except a handful of people. Gatekeeping. I think I might be in that group AH. But I have gathered a lot of stuff. What's the name? It's just Crime Nation. Oh, shoot. You're making me remember stuff, Oz. Give me a second and I'll tell you. It's on the CW Crime Nation Delphi. I think it's just calling it Crime Nation is what it is. The CW orders True Crime series Crime Nation to air early 2024. It's 2-hour episodes. Delphi. Oh, Vallow. Oh my gosh, how the heck did I forget that case? Dang it. It'll have an episode on Lori Vallow, Gabby Petito, Gilgo, Delphi, Idaho. So it's just called Crime Nation. It's a crime series. So that's it. Crime Nation. Yeah, I think I'm in the group AH. Yes, Moxie, I am. I actually was adding some stuff to it over the weekend. I do have. I can pull it up for you guys. We can go over it too in just a little bit too, because I think there's so much information in there or from over the last 7 years, and I will have a whole part in that on just Doug Rice's comments, because I have been gathering them from Facebook groups, and then I also have pulled all of his comments from Reddit. So that will be in there as well. If you're looking for the most up-to-date link for the Prezi, it's in the description of the lives on every one of them. I think we're in number 4 or 5 now. It's really crazy. I went back to watch local media reports from February 21st, and the theme of the day was lots of people have been cleared, so keep the tips coming because we need new leads. Isn't that an interesting comment when they turn around and say that nobody's been cleared? And I'll just say like something about a little Johnny Messer is that his family and friends took to social media immediately after the memorandum and said that he had been cleared by law enforcement. I was like, well, that's an interesting comment. Not that he hasn't been, but just interesting. Is it all other interviews beyond Holder and Westfall? Well, there's probably other interviews in there. I don't think so. Here's the okay. So the thing is I don't believe the defense ever even believes that Westfall was actually recorded. I think that's the number one thing. As you can see from the memorandum and even the documents when they talk about that, the fact that these were even deleted, they consistently say like, if there ever was one, which is very interesting because if you listen to Patrick Westfall's interviews on Sleuth Intuition, which I thought they were very good. And now do I believe everything he said? I do not, but I just thought that the flow was very nice. It was very easy to listen to. But he says that he did not get interviewed like that back in 2017, that he was just, they talked to him like, so like, what were you doing? Do you know these guys and whatever? Like it was a simple conversation. So it kind of lets me think like, was it even recorded? Was it a big deal? Because according to Patrick Westfall, it was not a big deal until 2023 when they brought him back in, and he said that's when they asked for DNA, that's when they asked for lie detectors, that's when they brought his son in to verify alibis, and his son said he was in school, and then there was no school, but then there was school. Like I have no idea, because I know some districts out there didn't have school, and then some did. But I don't know which ones are which. So I have never looked into that. But I just think it's interesting because Patrick Westfall says he didn't get that type of interview until September of 2023. Somebody was asking the other day about Elvis taking a polygraph, and Elvis turned down taking a polygraph. He said no, thank you, with his friend who was kind of acting as his like liaison. He's not an attorney, but he was, because we've all talked about that Elvis was not of, he has the mentality of approximately a 7-year-old apparently. So he had somebody else in there, and they said no, he's not taking it per his attorney. Yeah, per his attorney that his liaison person had set up for him. So he did not take one. The sister is the one that took one, and the sister has not passed away. I keep hearing that too. Both of his sisters are alive and well. Both the sisters that are mentioned in the memorandum are alive and well. All right, let me check something, then we're going to play this. Oh, thank you, Shelly, for sending that. I appreciate it. So the one who passed away was the lady who took the polygraph, and that's Stephanie. And her husband is a judge. It's very weird. All right, let me put this on here for you guys. Sister taking poly just means that sister believed Elvis. Correct. Absolutely. Her being honest in passing says that what he told her, and she says that he told her, is accurate. Now, the question is how the heck could he tell her that when nobody else knew? But turn the audio on. If you guys can't hear it, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to let it play because I did turn the volume on. So let me know if you can't hear it.
7 years ago today, 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German vanished while walking the Delphi historic trails. Their bodies were found the next day, a quarter-mile from where they were last seen on the Monon High Bridge. And for years, their murders remained a tragic mystery that haunted the small town of Delphi, Indiana. But in 2022, police arrested this man, Richard Allen, claiming that an unspent round from his gun tied him to the murders of Abby and Libby. But Allen maintains his innocence. So while the families of those two beautiful girls continue waiting for justice, we're wondering, what do the case forensics tell us? We have two outstanding guests to talk about this. Still with me, forensic death.
Okay, hold on. I just want to clarify something for chat real quick. Elvis was questioned. Elvis was not polygraphed, but he was questioned. He did have interviews. I don't want to misspeak, but I believe he had 2 at least. But he was not polygraphed. He turned down taking a lie detector. So I just want to make sure I clarify that, because I don't want anybody walking away thinking that he wasn't talked to. He was, just not polygraphed, and that's what he did. That's what he had turned down. But I do actually think that they ended up taking, I don't want to say that because I actually need to go back and verify, but I think they took his DNA. I think he did give DNA. He just didn't take a polygraph. I don't believe Elvis has the mentality of a 7 or 8-year-old. He obviously has some intellectual deficits, but not that. I agree, Tammy. I agree. And looking at his posts on Facebook, I think so too. I mean, I think that there's definitely a deficit, but I don't think it's anywhere near a 7-year-old. But that's kind of what they keep pushing out there. So I don't want to, I obviously don't know him, so I can't say anything different. Hi, Francis. What's up, Greeno? All right, I think that was the only thing. Does EF have any connection to Tennessee? Ooh, I don't know about that. Maybe. Okay, let me go back to this. Yeah, he can drive, live on his own, rebuild engines, take care of his own. Mm-hmm.
Investigator, professor.
You guys haven't listened to this? This becomes very interesting. So listen to the details that Barbara McDonald likes, that she decides to share on here.
State University. He's also the host of the Body Bags podcast. Joseph Scott Morgan still standing by with us, and one of my Court TV colleagues, the brilliant Barbara McDonald. She is a documentary producer here, a journalist for many years who's done great work, especially on the Delphi case, even before you came to join us at Court TV, Barbara, and we were so glad you did. You were hard at work on this case. So if I may start with you in terms of the evidence. What evidence is there that's essentially tying Richard Allen to these crimes?
Well, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. There are his own statements that he was out at the trails that day. There's some debate about what time he was actually out there and what time he left, which will be significant. But he did say that he was out there that day. Witness statements have described a man who looks similarly to Richard Allen, who was dressed the same way that he says he was dressed that day. I think we have some of the other points we're going to put up on the screen. We also know that some witnesses saw the car that appears to be his car out at the trails that day. And the .40 caliber bullet.
Yes.
The unspent round that was found between the bodies.
Right.
And my understanding is that discovery was made some days after the murder. So when the bodies were found on the 14th of February, 7 years ago tomorrow now, they did secure that crime scene for about 3 days, and they searched it, and then they cleared it for about a day, day and a half, and then they re-secured it. My understanding is that unspent shell was discovered during that second search after the scene had been re-secured.
Really?
And
okay, so let's I'll pull the prosecutor from the Harmony Montgomery case. Let's unpack that for a minute. Let's just unpack that, because that's the re-secured, because we've talked about this. We've talked about the fact that we know that it was not secured. There was nobody standing guard on the 15th when Ron Logan went down there and did his interview. There was nobody there. So people can say, well, it was still taped off. Well, it was taped off for months, but that's neither here nor there. They just didn't take down the crime scene tape. Secured means that nobody could actually walk on it. And maybe Ron Logan didn't walk on it. Maybe the interviewers didn't walk on it, but guess who did? and it was the doggy. The doggy was out there running around it. Now, if it was secured, they would not have been able to be down there like that. So we know that it was not secured as soon as the 15th. Absolutely, because we see an interview where there's nobody standing there. That doesn't mean that they weren't on the other side, which was also still considered the crime scene, over on the side of the Weber side, or the side with the moat on High Bridge. So this is interesting. So she's saying that it was secured for about a day and a half. So we know that they were found approximately noon on the 14th. And we know that he was doing interviews the next day, and it was not secured. So I don't believe there was anything secured for a day and a half. That's my first thought. My second thought is I do keep hearing that the bullet was found on the 14th and logged on the 15th. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've heard. So this changes that into, it was, they decided to re-secure the crime scene. Re-secure the crime scene. Do we have a vetted source for when the bullet was found? Unfortunately, no. We don't. Okay, so we're going to keep going because I want you guys to pay. She's not done yet.
It was found under the dirt. It wasn't just laying out in the open. It had been somewhat buried, whether intentionally or through time and the elements, we don't know. But that is the bullet that they're saying was ejected or cycled through his pistol that they discovered during.
Okay, Diane, I'm going to back it up just a little bit. I'm going to back it up just a little bit, because this is what I've been saying, is that it was in the ground. It was not on the ground, it's in the ground, which is why I was asking Steve from True Crime Web if there has to be some type of way to figure out how long a bullet has been in the ground. I mean, I've studied forensics, but once again, I've never actually practiced it, but Steve has. So he's doing an experiment. And one of the mods dropped his channel at True Crime Web, because he's doing an experiment now based on that question, because there has to be a way to be able to figure out how long this bullet was actually in the ground. If this bullet was in the ground for a couple of months before it was found, that's going to be a big deal. And then my second question comes to, how in the world, if Richard Allen is there on the 13th and he ejects this round, which doesn't make sense to me anyway, but just bear with me. He ejects this round and then it gets buried? How does it get buried in the day from the time they're missing to the day after? Is it just the investigators walking around and stepping on it? I mean, but they're saying it was only there 2 days. But I keep saying, they say it's in the ground, not on the ground. And I know some words can just end up being semantics. I get that. But that's a big deal. I mean, buried how far? Yeah, how far down was it? A metal detector? So I have, do I have that handy? That's a great question. But I do have somebody who was at the bridge a few days later, and they're talking about how law enforcement was out there with metal detectors. So that's an interesting point that you bring up. And then her saying that it was actually found a few days later, during the second securing of the crime scene. I think a metal detector. I don't know this, but I think a metal detector. Yeah, the problem is the area was not secured. So you have that being one issue. You have the second issue being that it's in the ground. And why the heck is it in the ground? And here, I'll tell you my third issue, and this is just one, this is mine, so it doesn't mean that has to be yours. If the girls were killed somewhere else, whether it be over at the other tree, whether it be in another location like some people believe, and brought there. Richard Allen brings the gun, or the perpetrator brings the gun to scare the girls, to control the girls. If they're already dead and he's moving them to the tree location where they're found, why does he still have a gun out? He doesn't need it to control them. He doesn't need it to scare them. So how is he ejecting a bullet in the area that the girls aren't killed? Why would he? I have found bullets in the woods, no big deal here. Everyone hunts, target practice and such, but unspent in the ground that was probably there a long time. The biggest issue with it, if it can be proven that it absolutely matches Richard Allen's gun, is Richard Allen himself stating he's never been on Ron Logan's property. He has no reason to be on Ron Logan's property. So, okay, so, I'm telling you right now, I know that there's the whole argument on ballistics and whether this is going to match or not, and I don't disagree with you. But here's the thing. What we think of it being junk science, what we think of it being actual science, what we think of it being a legitimate source of evidence or not, we're not on the jury. As of right now, that bullet is going to trial. She has denied all the suppression hearings and all the suppression motions when it comes to the ballistics. So as of right now, that bullet is going to trial. So make sure you understand that. Like, we can think it's garbage or we can think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. What we think of it doesn't matter. Right now it's going to trial, which means the prosecutor and the defense attorneys are going to have to put experts up there. Those experts are going to have to be understandable and likable to a jury. If the expert for the prosecution is more easily relatable and understandable with the way they speak and how they present themselves, when it comes to things like science that jurors don't necessarily understand, they want to believe the person who explains it to them in a way that they do. So it doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent. It's only going to matter the experts that those people put on the stand and how the jury relates to them. Now, junk science can be absolutely true. It can be absolutely true. It can be complete junk science. But they have to put something, they have to put somebody on there from the defense team or defense expert that is likable and can easily explain that to the jury. Because now we're just going, that's talk about semantics, because that's literally what it's going to come down to. And as long as it's going to trial, it's evidence. So you can think it's garbage evidence, but I'm telling you right now, it's still evidence, and it's going to only go with what the weight of the jury gives it. Yep. Oh, hey, Bob. Yeah, the unspent casing is coming in. So whether we like it or not, it's there. Yep, and junk science can convince a jury. Exactly like the cell phone data expert in Murdoch. I would have believed him even if he was wrong. He was articulate, easy to follow, and charismatic. Yeah, and when he's trying to explain something to you that you don't understand, that's the kind of person you want. So you're just like, yeah, I like that guy. I believe him. Some of the jurors in the Casey Anthony case, you know, when they were describing the bugs that were found in the trunk of Casey's car, the jury said they didn't understand it. They didn't care. They didn't understand it, so it didn't matter. And it was some of the best evidence that the state actually had against Casey, and they didn't understand it, so it became obsolete. I'd be curious how many people in chat right now that followed the Casey Anthony case can even talk about what happened with the bugs in the trunk, because he wasn't relatable. He wasn't understandable. It was confusing, so they just ignore it. Yep, they can attack it with the chain of custody and bring in their experts. Yeah, same thing. Yep, ATS, great example too. No, experts aren't the way to win trials, but in my opinion, experts are the way to win testimony, or to sway testimony that is about evidence like this. Because they'll believe the person that they like. We don't know who found the bullet. We've heard lots of different things. I keep hearing law enforcement actually found it, but there's always been the rumor that Mike Patty actually found it. Something about the type of bugs in dead bodies. Yeah, essentially, yep. The bullet was supposedly found in between the girls. Yes. So somebody asked earlier, like, how would they know it was in between the girls? Well, they know where the girls were located. They know that area that the bullet would have been found in would have been between them. I still think they could find it even days later and know that that's what it was, especially if it's in the ground. In the newest fuck-ups by the state, i.e. missing interview recordings, whether intentional or accident, isn't that considered gross negligence? Well, I would be surprised that we don't see something coming from the defense to discuss that. Because although it's not Nick that actually would have been the one to delete the evidence, he's still, as Sleuthie was talking about earlier, he's still the one who didn't bother to disclose that until now. We talked about the discovery deadline. So I think this is going to be kind of tricky because the discovery deadline was technically November 1st, right? Nick says he did give over all the discovery. Now the question is, did he give over all the discovery to Baldwin and Rosie? Because remember, they weren't working on the case since the 12th, and then according to the judge, they had withdrawn on the 19th. So did he give this information, this new, quote unquote, new discovery to Baldwin and Rosie, or did he give it to Labrato and Scremin, who now had tons of discovery to go through and probably never even found that at that point? I liked this channel till you ignored my opinion. I never ignore your opinion. What you talking about? All right, let me see. Mike Patty said he sent his own crew out for 2 weeks and instructed them to pick up anything that wasn't a leaf. Right. No, if not, what does the bullet stand for? It puts him at the scene of the crime. It puts him at the scene of the crime. That's what the bullet stands for, is putting him there. Because even if he puts himself at the bridge, even if he puts himself at the bridge at the time that this happened, there are other people who are at the bridge at the time that this happened. But putting somebody at the actual crime scene where the girls were found is what the bullet is. That's what that is. That's it. We know that they tested the bullet. Well, I don't know. I guess I can't say that. We know that they took other people's guns. Do we know that they tested it? I guess not necessarily, but I think they did. I'll just say that. I think they did. Because I know they were taking other people's guns. Likely and similar to. Yeah, that's a good point too. Me and my last bird did some ribeyes. Okay, Mario. There's a rumor that a woman found it too. The one who posted on Facebook a pic of a leaf with blood on it. Oh, I hadn't heard that rumor. I do know what picture you're talking about, though. Yep. See, Deb, I agree. She's one of the only ones that I'm adamant that she got away with murder. But when jurors hear the words bullet and match, it's very dangerous. I guess people only. Oh, Francis, what you talking about? I was over here just on my own, whatever rant. Thank you, Ivy. Get back in here, Francis. where you get in trouble. It's unseasonably warm right now in Indiana. That's interesting. Brad Weber had his gun taken for about 6 months. We know Brad Weber's gun was taken because that's what Kay told the public, was that they had come in and taken his stuff. We also know that they had gone in and taken Ron Logan's guns, because in the search warrant, they discussed that they had already been there approximately a week prior, taking his guns and his ammo. We know that, well, from other locals, we know that when they went to the Maxwell's home, they took Jim Maxwell's guns. Now, does that mean they tested them? No, you're right. I can't say they did. Let's see the picture. You're talking about the picture with the blood on the leaf? Okay, hold on. On March 4th, 2017, reported that investigators were back at the crime scene 18 days later. Let me see if I can find that real quick. March 4th, 2017. Now, if you guys are typing in chat, I can't see your comments, so give me a second. This is, did you say March 17th? Nope, you said March 4th. If I can't find it quickly, I'll move on. Well, I found one from March 17th. All right, I'll look for it, though. I'll keep that open so I can remember to look for it. I don't think the defense will create reasonable doubt with Ron Logan. I don't think that they're going to. I think that there was so much investigation into Ron Logan at that point. I don't think they can. All right, let me pull up my email real quick, and then I will see if Ivy sent that photo, and then I'll show you guys. I know I have it somewhere. Let me see if I can just pull it up. Okay, she's still finding it. I'll look for it real quick, too. Hi, Lilith. Alan may have been. You don't. I still see you, Francis. You just got to give me a second to get back. But thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Alan may have cycled around making demands. Tie her up. They don't comply. Alan has to give chase crossing river, forcing a muddy, angry Alan. That's a very good possibility. Hence the muddy guy. That's not the bloody leaf one. Well, maybe it is. There's the closer version. This one, right here. I don't have the story that goes along with it. I just have the picture. Thanks, Bob. Thanks for being a member, Bob. Hard to treat ballistics with the same authority as DNA. I thought you were a member, though. Hard to treat ballistics with the same authority as DNA when they aren't using whatever DNA they had used to clear everyone else for the last 7 years. I think that's going to play an important role, is that there is some form of DNA. And I think that we can all pretty much agree that DNA does not match Richard Allen. Otherwise, we would all know about it. It'd be easier for the defense to just blame RL, but they didn't, which tells me it's not the truth, and Odinists are the true killers. I think the Odinists become more interesting because there wasn't the finished up follow through investigation like I believe was probably done on Ron Logan, because it seems to me that they were really looking at Ron Logan as a hardcore suspect for a while, and it didn't pan out. Teresa proving that Allen is not BG is not reasonable doubt. I don't get it. Well, I'm definitely not a height expert, and I do think that would be an easier one for them to go in there and do. The problem I have with the comparisons on these videos, and just as honest as I can be here, is that video is so distorted. They didn't give us the actual video. So what everybody is comparing to is already altered. Does that mean it's altered in height and things like that? No. Probably the most compelling that I've seen is from Steve's channel, and he has BG, I believe, at 6 foot, 6'2". But like I said, I don't know how much that video has been messed with, which is why I can't. Richard Allen's face looks like it could be the face. Ron Logan's face looks like it could be the face. Ironically, there's like 15 people that were around the bridge that day that looks like it could be their face. So that's going to be other expert testimony, is going in and having somebody who can actually look at the actual video. Have I been to the scene? No, Karen, I haven't. One day I will. The ballistics is literally one person who works for the state looking under a microscope, knowing that the case rides on their findings. That's my issue. Is for me, it's not enough evidence. It's not enough, especially if it is actually in the ground. And if they have an expert that comes and talks about how long that bullet was actually in the ground, and it's not a day or 2 days or 3 days, that's problematic. Do I think Allen lied about his stated time being there? I think Allen admitted to the murders to a prison psychologist, which is why defense doesn't want medical records disclosed. That could be possible. If he could have admitted to somebody in the medical side, but I don't think that that's why they don't want his medical records disclosed. I think that's just another legal fight, in my opinion. The prosecution doesn't have a legal right to his records, so why give them anything to use? Especially if he has suffered from any type of depression or anything like that. I would not give them anything to use. I'll come to a few days of the trial. I want to. I absolutely want to. Hey, Shane. Hey, Truth. Ron Logan was covered on their separate occasions. Yeah. He's just not a viable person anymore for the defense to use. Nothing here. LOL. I'm not sure why everyone wants to go to Delphi, Indiana. Well, I want to go for the trial. Are the composites supposed to be BG? So this is an interesting question, because the first sketch released has had a lot of commentary around it about where it actually came from. Now, the defense puts out there that it's from Sarah Carbaugh on 300 North, walking muddy bloody. My personal understanding is that that sketch is actually created from multiple witnesses, including the video, which is why those things were sent to like Disney and so on to try to get as much as they could. So the original sketch was supposed to be BG. But now they've kind of made it seem like it's just the guy walking on 300 North. Well, one of the witnesses says, you know, that his face was actually covered, like with a scarf or something around the lower part of his face. So this is why I think it's probably multiple, it's made from multiple sources. And that's probably the closest one. Now, the other thing is that you have Betsy Blair, who sees the young guy on the first platform. He's either a secondary person involved, or he's, I don't know. Everybody keeps trying to convince me of this whole, well, you know, the witness is older and she sees somebody and so she makes him younger. But so I went and researched this, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Because Betsy Blair was only 59. She was only 59 years old in 2017. So looking at Richard Allen or anybody who's in their mid-40s, she's not going to be like, oh yeah, that guy's totally 20 years old. She's not like 80. You know what I mean? Like, she's not like super old, where she's like looking at him and going, oh yeah, that's just some young buck over there. Yeah. 59 doesn't think that a 45-year-old looks 20. I thought BB was 43. No, I have her as 59. She turned 60 in 2017. She was severely stoned. I keep hearing that too. She like that doesn't even, if she was stoned, then the state's really screwed up their case. If she was really under the influence of anything, and they're like, yeah, this is our main witness who saw him on platform 1, that's never gonna work. I mean, she could totally be stoned. They've used other people that have been high on shit for witnesses. I'm not saying that they won't, but I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, does it matter if she, let's say she is stoned. 59 can't see 20 feet away. Oh, Francis, you better be careful. You're going to get in trouble in chat. I don't think so. I can pull up her Facebook and see. I don't think she did. What is the pic on the screen? This is somebody who went to the crime scene after the fact and put or took a picture stating this is what she saw at the crime scene. Now, that's why I said I don't have any context really around it, because I don't know exactly where she's at the crime scene. I don't know any of that. All eyes on Delphi. I'll send you her Facebook. I was 60 high when I was on the bridge. Oh yeah, I guess you were kind of high then. How many Betsy's? Betsy Blair. Why is Ivy, the 10, 11-year-old witness sister of the Riley, not part of the group of 4? She is left off by Ilya. 10, 11-year-old is not a little kid. No, and I actually thought she was closer to, I thought she was actually closer to the girl's age, 13, 14. Maybe 11. I don't actually know. I don't know that for sure. That's why I said Francis is going to get himself in trouble. So this is, like I said, I have no coordinates. I don't know exactly where we're at in the crime scene, and I don't have the context around it. But we were talking about the photo, so somebody asked to see it. And so it has an evidence marker, and it's got a leaf that potentially has blood on it. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, Rebecca, the little sister. Can I convince you all police sketches are garbage and both public sketches can be RA? Can I convince you all police sketches are garbage? Well, you can. You can definitely convince me that all police sketches can be garbage. I don't know if have any of you guys ever followed a trial that the person who is on trial, they're like, see, this guy matches this sketch perfectly, and this is how we caught him. I've never followed a trial like that. Also, you have the investigators who are telling the public that those two sketches are different people, that they have already determined who the first sketch was, and now they are working on the second, on verifying who the second person is, and they are not the same person. The only person who comes out and says that those are the same person is Doug Carter, who does his whole little flashy hands and says, you put them together and there he is. But all the actual documentation states that the second sketch, which is technically the first sketch, but that the second sketch is a different person than the first sketch. The families even come forward and tell the public, the first guy's been identified. He's no longer a person of interest. He's done. We're looking at this guy now. So somebody in law enforcement told the families that they had cleared the first guy. Now, make that make sense if you look back and you go, wait a minute. The very beginning, when they very first put out the first sketch, technically the second sketch, but the first sketch public, they tell the world, this is the only person that was at the bridge. The only person that was at the bridge that we have not spoken to and identified. Now, how does there become a second person that's at the bridge that was spoken to, or not, that they didn't know who it was? How do we end up with two when for years we only had one? And now everybody's like, see, it is the same person. Well, guess what? Law enforcement said, no, it's not the same person. They made public statements stating that it was not the same person. Do I need the ISP presser? For Ivy? Does Ivy need it? Where was it said that sketches are of different people and OBG was found? I remember them roundabout saying that both sketches were of BG. Oh, hold on. I think I have it. Also, if you can listen to Anna's interview. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I actually can just pull it up really quick. If not, Sleuthy probably can do it faster than me. Probably already has. Go in here. Yeah, there we go. Of course she did. Okay, let me pull this over here. So this is the actual press release. Let me come back to you guys. Thank you, Sleuthy. This is the press release where they say, multi-agency task force clarifies points about the Delphi murder suspect sketches. In the early days and months of the Delphi investigation, information was developed about suspect descriptions. It was initially believed that the sketch that has been in public view for over the last 2 years of a person in the age range of his 40s and 50s was a person of interest in the murder investigation. Now, as the investigation has matured and past information has been reassessed, it is the belief of investigators with the multi-agency task force that the person depicted in the sketch released on April 22nd more accurately represents the person wanted for the murders of Abigail and Liberty German. It is important to distinguish these points about the two sketches. They are not the same person. The person depicted in the originally released sketch is not presently a person of interest in the investigation. The sketch released on April 22nd is representative of the face of the person captured in the video on Liberty's cell phone as he was walking on the high bridge. So here they're telling you that BG is the younger sketch. Aw, Yankee Ghost, thank you. Hi, Aspen. This person in the sketch released on April 22nd is described as having a youthful appearance, but could fall in the age range from his 20s to late 30s. This person's appearance could look different today if he has grown a mustache, a beard, or let his hair grow longer, or cut his hair shorter than depicted in the sketch. Because remember, that one has a lot of hair. The second one has a lot of hair. Got some curly hair. Members of the Delphi community should reflect back on people they know in the community that look similar to the sketch released on April 22nd, especially if that person has changed their appearance since the murders occurred in February 2017. This clearly is, oh, you guys can't even see it. Shit, why didn't anybody tell me that? And make it bigger for you. It's like, she's just making this shit up. Here, there you go. Then who is old BG? If it is someone, they have to tell us who it is eventually. You'd think, but I don't. Well, because now then you get, like I said, you get Doug Carter. Let me see if I have that interview handy real quick, where he does his magic hands and puts them together. And he says, actually, we can't see that. I got you. I got you. What about the clarification they put out after? I understood it as they were both supposed to be sketches of BG. Did you say they said they ID'd OBG? Yeah, so let me see if I can find this for you real quick. I'd have to read this first, though. Yes, such a heavy day for the girls' families. My heart breaks for them. It should be here. Should have just been celebrating 21. Almost 21. The trial for this will be very mind-blowing every step, if we ever make it that far. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know what word that is, but I think it's supposed to be clarification. Should be getting ready to go on spring break. Well, they both have jobs, or unless they're both in college. Then they get their college spring break. Oh, what's this one? Okay, so this is the original from 2 days prior. Oh, it's Sleethia, can you? I think I have it in my playlist actually. Let me pull this one up. So this is the 2 days prior one. So this one is from 4/24. This one is from the day of the press release.
Simply sketches are not photographs. It's a piece of an investigative puzzle.
Thank you,
when we're all done with this, we're going to be able to meld the two of them together. And we're going to find an individual. That's what happened.
This case.
They did. I've always said that the two sketches are not photographs. It's a piece of an investigative puzzle. And when we're all done with this, we're going to be able to meld the two of them together.
Magic
and
hands.
we're going to find an individual. That's what
All right, let me play this for you first. You guys have probably heard it already.
I've always said that the two sketches are simple sketches, are not photographs. It's a piece of an investigative puzzle. And when we're all done with this, we're going to be able to meld the two of them together. And we're going to find an individual. That's what happened.
Mr. Magic Hands. Yeah, sorry, I was playing on two different tabs, and I was like, shit, I can't find the other tab. I lost it. Okay, so this is the first one they put out on April 22nd. This is early this afternoon. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter spoke with members of the Delphi community and interested media to share the change in direction of the Delphi double murder investigation of Abby Williams and Liberty German. This investigation has been ongoing since the discovery of the girls' bodies the early afternoon of February 14, 2017, in a wooded area near the Delphi Historic Trail. After a mile, about a half mile upstream from the High Bridge, today a new sketch of the suspect appearing to be in his mid-20s to mid-30s and believed responsible for the murders of the girls was shared with the Delphi community and the media. As the investigation has progressed, information has continuously reviewed and examined, and this sketch more accurately depicts the face of the suspect from the video recorded on Liberty German's cell phone while she and Abigail were on the High Bridge. Also shared with the Delphi community was more of the audio, as well as previously unreleased video from Libby's phone. The sketch, audio, and video footage can be viewed at this Indiana State Police website. As Superintendent Carter said today, we have a witness. We have a witness. You made mistakes. We are coming for you. And there's no place for a heartless coward like you to hide that gets his thrill from killing little girls. The investigation has been a priority of the multi-agency task force since the first day of the investigation and will continue to be a priority for all participating law enforcement agencies. Look at the sketch, listen to the audio, and watch how this coward walks on the High Bridge and send your tips to this email. So this was the first one they put out. And then they clarified it 2 days later with this one, but I want to show you guys what Anna says about it. So let me pull that up. So you have Magic Hands where he puts everything together. Hiawatha criminal, please remember the original photo taken from Libby's video was posted in the Pharaoh's Tribune on February 17th. BG has a mask over the lower half of his voice. We have no idea the bottom of his face. So this is why I do believe that that sketch is actually made by multiple different sources. I don't think it's from one, and I think I have that. So I'll show you guys that one. This is the one that you can see the more original coloring, but they don't. There's no video. This is just when they give us the first couple of photos. I think they put out 2 photos. And this is one that I feel like it's just at such a different angle. And this is where people think that he has something on. He says something around the bottom of his mouth here, but other people think he just has a mustache. So the witness for the second sketch is Betsy Blair. She's the one who saw him on the first platform. She's actually the one who created the very first sketch, but they didn't use it. They kept it. And I mean, she created it, I think, like the 17th or 18th. It was like very quickly after the crime. And she says it was a 10 out of 10 for the person that she saw on the first platform of the bridge when she was there. They don't put it out until April 22nd of 2019. His jazz hands. The agent that tip they were waiting for was someone telling them who did it. His face is not covered. That's bullshit. I've heard that his face is covered by multiple people who have looked at it. The young witness Rayleigh also said that his face was covered. One of the girls says she only came up to the guy's shoulder, and yet she was taller than him. Nobody really believes that BG was Alan. Yeah. I think there are people who do believe that, though, Jackie. So the new direction is going with the actual eyewitness to someone on the bridge. Make it make sense. Sleuthy knows what I'm talking about. Be back, Dean. I know you had a question up here. I was trying to get back up to it. I don't know if I can find it. Did I already read it? Dean, I can't see your question. Oh, wait, hold on. Hopefully, if Dean comes back, somebody let me know so that I can make sure I get the question. All right, let me find this interview for you real quick. I say real quick when you know damn well it's not going to be real quick. I like to make myself think it will be. I'm still here, just FYI. I'm just looking for it. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. Give me a second. No, we haven't even finished that. Yeah, I'll play that while I look. Very good point. Thank you, Sleuthy. Let me do that.
Through time and the elements, we don't know. But that is the bullet that they're saying was ejected or cycled through his pistol that they discovered during the search warrant.
Barbara, thank you for that. Joseph Scott Morgan, I wanted to talk to you about that in particular. What does hearing this information from Barbara now make you think about the securing of the scene, the clearing of it, the resecuring of it, and then the discovery of this round?
Well, the biggest problem with this is the resecuring, because you can't really resecure anything once you've released it. And that's a major problem, because that's any defense attorney worth their salt is going to move forward with that and say, well, how do we know that something wasn't placed down there in that interim, that kind of vacuum that creates at that moment in time, because the area is completely unsecured. Or at least that's what they're saying by their own admission. That's problematic. It's problematic moving forward with the case. And the fact, as my friend Barbara had alluded to, that when they found the round, which I have actually one right here, this is a .40 caliber round right here, unfired. When they found this round, it was beneath the surface of the dirt. So you have to be able to answer this question: how long had it been there? And you look and you see, because this is a brass round, you think about, well, is there corrosion on it? And where's the dirt embedded on this thing? And it can be problematic. Really, I mean, it's a significant piece of evidence, but again, if you don't have this cohesion at the scene, that can be problematic.
Right. Professor Jig, you're the best having that round there. And when we think about this, they're saying that it cycled through his pistol, his Sig Sauer, but it wasn't fired from. The markings on it, Professor Joe, those markings would still be there, right? Would they not? Like if he, I guess, maybe racked the gun, or how do you think this might have happened?
Yeah, you've got what are referred to as extractor and ejector marks on actually, if you think about, for lack of a better term, on the fuselage of the projectile itself, or on the body of the thing. And so there are these definitive little marks. And what they're saying is that the firearms examiner, this is a 6-hour platform, by the way, that he had, the brand, when he cycled this thing. And that is, if you've ever seen on television where somebody racks around into a weapon, well, they're not just racking it in. If there's one in the chamber, it's going to go flying out. And that's what happened. But, Julie, those marks on an unspent round on the body of this thing are not as robust scientifically as the ballistic markings that you have on a fired round, the actual projectile. So it's not quite as done as people might think when it comes to an ejected round like that.
Sure. This explainer is so helpful, Professor. Thank you. Barbara, let me go back to you, please, on what might be missing in terms of evidence that's linking him. You really dug deep into this one with Richard Allen. What do you think's missing?
There's a lot. We don't have a murder weapon or
Mhm.
weapons. We don't know exactly what was used. They've described it as a sharp-edged weapon, but we don't know if they have that, if that has any evidence contained on it. According to the defense attorneys, there's no DNA of Richard Allen at the crime scene on the girls. There's none of their DNA on him that anybody has put in any of the court filings. We don't know anything about any fingerprints. Apparently, there aren't any fingerprints linking him, and there's no hair and fibers linking him to the scene. And then also, some of the theory is that perhaps these girls were catfished and lured out there to be killed. There's no electronic evidence linking him to the girls. They took his cell phones, they took his laptops, his iPads, all of his electronic items, and there's no link to the girls there. So, you know, is there more evidence than what
Right.
we know about? Probably, hopefully.
Sure.
And when we get to trial, hopefully we'll see all that, but that could be a long ways off.
Right. Barbara, one of the biggest questions I get whenever anyone asks me about this case is how were those girls murdered? To this day, we still don't know how exactly, do we?
We do know from some of the filings from the defense attorneys in this case that it was a gruesome scene. There were injuries to their necks caused by a sharp-edged weapon, but they have not gone into more detail than that. I do know that, you know, the investigators who were out at the scene, who saw these girls out there that day, say that it's a scene they're never, ever going to forget. And, you know, just one more note on this anniversary. It is the 7th anniversary. The families want us to remember these beautiful girls, Abby and Libby. They were 13 and 14. Libby would be 21 today. Abby would be turning 21 in June. Huge loss for their families, for their community, and they are absolutely missed. And so we should be putting some of the focus today on them.
That's exactly why we wanted to do this segment, Barbara. Exactly why, because here on this show, it's about the victims. Those girls are what this case is about. We all hope their families get justice, and we send them good thoughts.
Okay. Hi to everybody that just popped in, and I didn't get to say hi to Mariah, so I want to say hi to Mariah real quick. I want to know where Barbara's source comes from regarding the bullet, because my understanding is that the bullet was recovered on the 14th. Let's get to trial so we can finally get some clearer answers. And we were talking about that before you got in here, Aspen, too. That's what I was told also, was that it was actually found on the 14th. But she says it was found during the second securing of the crime scene, which I just think it's going to be problematic for the prosecution. How's the Odin report, Barbs? They should just have her on to read that. Well, JD, didn't she used to think that it was Ron Logan? And then she decided that it was Richard Allen based on the arrest and everything else. And she seems to be kind of looking at this a little bit more open-minded, like, wait a minute, what's really going on here? And I think a lot of people have. And not to say that they're sold on Richard Allen's not being the guy, but just kind of like, wait a minute, what's really happened with this investigation? What really happened with this evidence? No, somebody definitely told her that. Veronica said, I too was told it was found the week of, not the day. Oh. They approved the crime scene was ever secured. I think the only time it was actually secured was probably during that night. And that'd be the closest to it, because we know that all the search groups submerged on each other when they found the girls, because multiple different search parties came up and actually saw the girls. Before Pitbulls. She thinks it's Ron now. She's drinking the Save Magic Mushrooms Tia Stevens. But she told me she's got multiple sources. That it was found during the second search. Barbara's been bamboozled, hoodwinked. She's been led astray. Resecured. That's brand new info. Yeah, we were told it was constantly secured, but we've questioned it because it didn't make sense when we knew that Ron Logan was actually down there. Bullet was not found on the 14th. The FBI was there on the 15th, and it hadn't been found yet. The bodies were already removed. Ivy. Yeah, I think she says it was pretty. Bob. I'm pretty sure she's had multiple people that have influenced her change of tune, and most likely it's probably has a lot to do with these defense attorneys and Bob. And Bob. I'll say that. Okay, so let me pull this up. This is the going back just a step to go back to the second bridge guy. This is the interview on Jason Heber's channel from, let me tell you the date, September 30th, 2020. I'll also put it in the chat so that you guys can watch the full interview, because I'm not going to play the full interview. So if you choose to watch it, I'll also put it in the description afterward. But here they start to talk about what she was told about the second sketch.
Night during the news report, they mentioned, they hope that it's just that they're at a friend's house or something. And then when it became an active investigation, they it was quite the room full of people ready to help and look. And there was like a plaque on the wall, and I just remember them reiterating that. I wish I could remember the phrase, but it was definitely worth watching. And
so I feel like the what you're referencing to is something that Libby is quoted in saying is in a minute. And we asked just 1 minute. A little bit just give us 1 minute.
Give it a second, it'll get there.
1 minute to look at the picture and share the photo and share the audio. Just 1 minute. We asked for just 1 minute.
Okay, this will be important to clear up here. I'm assuming most people don't make this mistake, but anyone who does, we want to go over it. Lollipop asks, what changed law enforcement's mind about the first sketch and put out a much younger second sketch? But do you want to go over this, how the sketches came about or anything like that?
Sure. We touched on that briefly earlier, but again, the original sketch was the most popular of the sketches that were put together in the initial investigation. Ellie felt like they had cleared and gone through all of the tips and felt like they had a good understanding of who the first sketch guy was, the BG. Felt like they had cleared all of those rumors and speculations to who that was up, and then now concentrated on another person that other people recognize as being out there that day. Another sketch collaborated that was basically second runner-up. Whether first and second were together or separate, whether one was involved and the other was not. They didn't know who the bridge guy was. We didn't know who for sure. People kind of put a sketch together and said, yeah, that's what we feel this guy looked like. And again, if you're in a bank or a grocery store and it's being robbed, you're not going to see the same thing as your neighboring, hostages are, so to speak. You're not going to see what color shirt, his hair color. You're all going to get something different. So that was a collaboration of, and that's where we feel like the second sketch comes from also, is that we had the first sketch that most people believed was out there that day of that gentleman, and the second one was another person they also felt was out there that day that they may not have known.
Okay.
That's the best I can put it.
Right.
Was another person. Was another person that was out there. But she goes back to talking about the fact that the sketches were collaborations and made by multiple people. When the sketch was like created, they're like, yeah, that's what we think that the person actually looked like. And then this one, the only thing about that is that Betsy Blair's sketch was immediate, and Sarah Carbaugh, the second sketch, the first one released, was not actually done until about June. But we know that there was a lot more put into that. So is it possible that they were working on it with all these different witnesses? Let's see. A clip from Dr. Phil under 1 minute has Mike Patty talking about searching the trails around 2 weeks after the girls were found. Yeah, I got to find that clip. So Sarah Carbaugh, the teen girl, maybe someone else. I think Daniel Pearson is going to be your someone else. I think that he's going to play a big role in that. I think he plays a big role in why things were changed, which is why I want to talk about it. That things were changed from February to April in the same year. So every male who hiked that day should be jailed. I mean, imprisoned. Yeah, imprisoned. One of my questions are how could none of the teen, early 20 guys being discussed, there were groups of guys out there. There was groups of guys out there, but I think that people don't necessarily count on these other, or I should say, look at these other groups of guys because they're not talked about in any of the police documentation. But we know as the public, because of the groups of guys saying, hey, we were out there, we also know because of social media, pictures that were taken by other groups of people that they were out there. But they're not talked about in the documentation, so people don't necessarily care that they were out there. But there was groups that were under the bridge. There was groups that were there from 7 a.m. 6 something in the morning. I have those photos too. There were people there all day. And she's like, and I know firsthand. Yeah. Daniel Pearson is your one suspect. I don't think that he had anything to do with it, but I do think that he could very well be one of the people that saw Bridge Guy. And I think that he saw Bridge Guy leaving. No one describes them, mentions them. Well, I have them all in here. So we can take a look at this. No, that's not the one that I want. We can take a look at this. Like I said, it's not done, but I am working on it. I'm at the point where I'm like wondering if it'll ever be done now. I don't know if I've added those screenshots to this yet. Armchair Detective, has anyone considered the possibility that RA knows KK and isn't admitting it? If KK sold the information to RA or the killer, then of course KK isn't going to admit it due to charges. I don't know. I cannot find an actual tie between KK and Richard Allen besides the city. And I mean, if we're going to go with that, then we tie them all together to 100 other people. I know that there have been local people who say they absolutely knew each other, more so that Tony Klein knew the Allens and the Walkers. But I mean, there's nothing that shows that. There's nothing that documents that. Lindsay, he saw flannel shirt guy though. Well, that's part of the change. That's the change in story. That did not actually, he did not say he saw flannel shirt guy until I'll give you one guess when that story changed. When do you think it changed from that he saw bridge guy leaving to that he actually saw flannel shirt guy? Give you one guess on the time frame of that change. I don't think Nick is evil. I think he's understaffed and outmatched, which would make him or any attorney desperate. You can't even imagine how much pressure McQuillan has on him. Oh, I agree with you. I don't think he's a bad guy necessarily. I just don't. He should have got a special prosecutor from the beginning. He knew that this was too big for him. I think that he thought he could get a plea, and then he's just like, shit, this guy won't fucking plea. Like, what the hell is going on here? Are there pics of them hanging out? There is. Now, the question is, where do I have them? So there are pictures of groups of people there that morning, time-stamped. Ooh, Aspen, thank you for that. Let me look at that. I don't think I have them in here yet. Oh, pics of Alan and KK Hank? No. Not that I've ever seen. People from Lafayette were there, a group of 7. Can you name one of them, and I can tell you if that's part of the groups that I have or no? I don't know if you want to do that or not. If not, it's okay. Rick's name asked Tony. He doesn't know Alan. Well, I mean, I think the whole thing was that he knew the Walkers, is what more of the locals say. How about Daniel Pearson? Do we know what he has said? We know some of what he has said, but then he stops talking. It seems like a lot of what he supposedly said actually came from his friend. My King of Kings. I just don't think that KK is involved. I just don't. You'll go post it real quick? Begins with S. Okay. We're kind of all over the place, but give me a second. I want to pull this up too. I want to find that picture though, because there were people, the ones from the morning, and I'm thinking that might be the same group that you're talking about, Veronica. All right, let me look at All Eyes on Delphi, and then I'm going to pull up this other screenshot real quick about the bullet in the ground. And then I'll find the photo of the people that were hanging out there that morning, and we'll see if that's the right people. Did you post it on your community wall? Okay, well, I have it up. If you do, let me know that you did, and then I'll go look. Now my screen's don't freaking lose. Here we go. It's still downloading. Here we go. Okay, so ISP Peru, Alex McAdams TV. Is it true that a hiker found bloody evidence weeks after the crime scene was supposedly searched? And here's a screenshot of the person. And to be completely honest, I was out there almost 2 weeks ago. Yes, at the crime scene. I realized I probably shouldn't have. Anyway, I'm glad that I did. I found evidence that was left behind or not found originally. Yes, I turned it into the command center, was questioned and gave my DNA since I had touched the item. Needless to say, what I found was covered in blood that seemed to have turned out to be the killers. But I'm not on here spreading all that I know because people run wild with any little thing they can. I mean, I could post pics of what I found, but I could only imagine what would come of it. And then, so this is just somebody who posted. I know that people speculated whether she was one that actually found a bullet or found anything like that, but I've not heard her as mentioned as much as I've heard like Mike Patty being mentioned. And then here Slocum says, nope, not even remotely true. Not that I question Tony Slocum, but I don't know if he would even know, depending on who she turned it into or who she was talking to. They didn't seem to communicate very well, but that's neither here nor there. Recently forgive a sketch 3 days later was not what Ellie originally put out. Nope, not at all. Yes and no. Difficult to explain by text. Bloodless though. Hi Punksy. Has anyone researched Odinism? Oh yes. Oh yes. We're gonna be doing something on that this week too. Just going over what that what that is and what it looks like. Somebody did make a really good point though yesterday that I saw. I'll bring it up when we talk about it later. Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to show something. All right. There was something else I was going to show you. What was I showing you? All right. Well, I'll find the picture of the other people that were out there. So when we go over that part, we can see it. There's a tattoo shop called Odin's Den. All right. Well, so I do want to do, what's Odinism? I've never heard of it. Smarty pants. I do want to do the, Veronica, would you email me? I'd like to talk to you anyway, but would you mind emailing me? You know, ironically, if we talk about like people that are tied to the Kleins, you also have Ron Logan's cousin, who was supposedly his, supposed to be his alibi, also lived over by the Kleins. Just throwing that out there. All right. Well, I'm actually gonna wrap this one up. I know that my friend ATS News is going live. I think in about a half hour. And let me get her link for her channel because you guys should go watch. She's also going live on Delphi and talking about things related to the 7-year anniversary. And she's just a good gal. So you guys should be watching her. I will be over there. It's kind of a bittersweet day, though. It really is. Ooh, the Ben Steyer is going to head over to ATS News. Okay, you guys want the newest link for this in case it's not the right one? I'll get you that. Somebody had asked for it earlier. So this is the most recent Prezi. And I'm going to, let me go in. I'm going to redirect you guys over there. Yep. I put the link in here too, but I'm going to go back here and I'll do it this way. I love this. You can just like send people where you want them to go. Like, or like where you're going to go next. Like here, I'm going to go over here. Join me. So I don't think she starts for about a half hour, but I want to do the Doug Rice stuff. But now that we've already been on here almost 2 hours, I hate to start it and then there's a lot to it. So I think that we'll do that one next because I think that we need to go through the Doug Rice stuff before we go through the big change of 2019, the switcheroo. So I'll try to do that tomorrow. Come on. Will it not let me do it because it's not live yet? Can I not reroute if it's not live yet? Do you guys know? Oh, ATS is Amazeballs. Yeah, you got to go watch her. What's a Prezi? It's this demonstration. It's all this. So it's everything that I've put together. Well, I have so much more to add still, but it's everything that I've put together just about the case, about the girls. It won't let me find her for some reason. Oh, here it is. Now it did. Stupid. That's dumb. I don't know why I did that. So this is it's a link. Here's the link is right here. And it has like all their like the just anything and everything that I have been able to find and put together about anybody involved in the case, what they screenshots that they have, things that they have been said. Like I said, it's so I keep thinking I'm getting closer to being done, and then I go, it's not. So this is anything like on Libby, and then here's everything on Abby, and then like grandparents, and it's got the family tree. If you're looking to just figure out how everybody's connected, it's got Libby's family tree and Abby's family tree. It's got the timeline, which I'm still putting together, but that's on there and it will be finished. All the persons of interest, like the major, it's never done. I know, maybe. It's like got everything about Curtis Fouts. It's got Maxwell stuff. It's got Paul. I mean, all of the main persons of interest in the case. About Brad Weber. It's got Kay Weber screenshots from groups. Anything I can find, anything I have, anything I can find, it's in here. It's got the sketches, got the videos. There's Eric Alter telling on what's his name. So just a ton of, I'm telling you, like anything that I have, which I still have so much more to add, it's in here. It's got all the stuff with law enforcement. It's got photos of the crime scene, not those crime scene photos. Those are not in here. Anything to do with the searchers and who the searchers were and how they're connected. Any interviews that they've done. And then any screen, like I said, anything, any screenshots. It's just tons and tons and tons of stuff. So it's like I said, it's just got everything I have. I'm putting in here so that you guys have access to it. Give it. You guys send it to me sometimes. I'll put it in here if it fits or whatever, and that's it. So you guys have the link to it, and you guys can go through and find anything that you want. And if you feel like there's something that should be on there that isn't on there yet, then let me know. I don't know how easy it is to go through like on a phone. I only ever look at it on the computer. Like I said, this is far from done. So putting all the interviews in here. So like this is what I was working on over the weekend, was adding interviews so that you can just literally click straight on to one and watch an interview. It'll have all that for all the law enforcement interviews. It'll have all that.
Upset, confused,
all
obviously very distraught.
All the family interviews for the
Just worried.
searchers.
All I want to do is have the girls get home safe.
The girls were dropped off.
So everything. I had almost nightly conversation. Well, Julie, I tried to get a hold of you yesterday to chat with you. So maybe can you call me back so we can talk about it? I still find it odd that Tara Durham wound up marrying Amanda Duvall. Well, it's not. There's actually supposedly no familial connection between the Duvalls. So, all right. Well, I'll see you guys over at ATS. She's also, like I said, she's doing a live on Delphi. So please go over and support her. She's an amazing creator, an amazing person, an amazing friend. So I thank you guys for being here. I will see you guys tomorrow. And hopefully we can go over, I pulled all the Doug Rice stuff already. So hopefully we can just go over that. Do I have? Well, I'm not leaving yet. I'll wait for you, Veronica. Tell me. Yeah, Tara married Amanda, but Amanda supposedly is not related to Jimmy Duvall. Where she says it was ritualistic. What's the channel called? ATS News. And I did reroute it. So when this ends, it should take you straight to her. It should take you straight to her live. She's starting in about 20 minutes. Maybe she'll start early. ATS News is the channel, and as soon as this one ends, then it'll be done. I'm looking for an interview, but I'm not able to find it. That's the link to the Prezi. The link is also in the description of all the videos. I have a ton of interviews downloaded. There are still some that I cannot find. That I'm looking in the Wayback Machine for. So Veronica, like I said, Veronica, email me because I want to chat with you about some of the other stuff that we've chatted about in the chats anyway. And then I can get more of a clear picture on the peeps you're talking about and see if they're the same people that I was talking about. But go have a great night. I'll see you guys over at ATS News, and I'll see you guys here tomorrow. And hopefully we can go over all the stuff from Doug Rice, and then we can go to, we can do the whole switch of 2019. I'll talk about you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. I was trying to read a comment and say goodbye. It didn't work out very well. All right, now I'm really going to go, and it should reroute you straight over to ATS News. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.